Hey guys, this is Surax Gaming and welcome back to a new topic video on my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about just who deserves a slot in Mortal Kombat 1. We know the full character list for the first combat pack of the game, and we do also know that there is going to be future DLC. There's going to be a story expansion, there's going to be a bunch of stuff that brings new characters with it. So I kind of wanted to make a video just breaking down kind of who I think should be added to this game as DLC. And yeah, let's get into it. A couple disclaimers I wanted to talk about first, just some kind of rules I gave myself making this video. This video won't talk about anything that's been leaked, any kind of data mines, any speculation into who's going to be coming to the game at this point. This is purely a video to discuss which characters I would want to put in the next Mortal Kombat pack. These are the characters that I think deserve to be in MK1, whether it be for popularity, my own personal interest in them, their story, or the story in MK1 and who would make sense to be added. Couple rules I gave myself: there are 6 slots available in the Combat Pack 2. 2 of these slots must go to guest characters. Even though I personally would absolutely love a 6 MK character pack, it's never going to happen, so one rule I gave myself going into this video is I must pick 2 guest characters. These guest characters can be anyone. Same with the Mortal Kombat characters. There are no exclusion rules. I can pick any character I want, regardless on whether or not they actually have a chance at making it in the game. So before you start typing that comment, Chameleon's not actually going to be a playable character, blah blah blah, this is my list. I can put whoever I want in it. And do let me know in the comments who you would put in it. I want to see your list as well, realistic or not. I think that's what makes this so fun, is I can sit here and there's a couple characters in here that are safe picks, and there's a couple characters in here that are quite out there. So with all that said, let's break down these 6 characters I think deserve to be in Mortal Kombat 1. Character number 1, Sektor. Definitely my biggest request going forward in this game right now is for Sektor to be in it. I love Sektor as a character, and Sektor hasn't truly been in a game playable since MK9. Triborg was in MKX, but that's not actually Sektor. And then Sektor himself was in MK11 as a story mode NPC. And he is mentioned quite a few times in this game. You know, we know that there's some stuff cooking with Sektor and Bihan's Lin Kuei, and him and Cyrax have been name dropped as being, you know, loyal to Bihan. I personally have chosen Sektor over Cyrax. Cyrax is not on this list. That's just due to my own personal preference out of the two. I like Sektor much better. I always love Sektor's designs, and we could also see some more human Sektor, because this is the new era, so they're going to do a new take on these characters. One thing I would like to see them do is an almost kind of like Iron Man-esque take on Sektor, where he's still human Sektor, but instead of turning himself into a cyborg, he's developed almost like a power armor for him to use. I think that would be absolutely sick. It'd be a hot, fresh take on Sektor that we could look at, and it'd be fun. Sektor's gameplay is always super interesting. He's always hyper aggressive. I love Sektor so much, and I would love to see him playable again, especially after MKX. Triborg Sektor variation was off the chain. It was awesome. I miss Sektor so much. Moving on to character number 2, Serena. This one isn't personal preference, but truly someone who I think actually does deserve a slot in the DLC pack. She's got the story relevance for this game. We've also got Quan Chi, Ashra, and Bihan on the roster, who are all characters who in the past have been very closely connected to Serena's story, or more so that Serena's been connected to their story. She's also a cameo already, and she has a fresh new design that everyone's loved, and she's just super popular and hasn't been playable. The demand for Serena is probably one of the highest characters in this game. The only character I would say has higher demand than Serena right now is Jade, but Serena was never really going to beat Jade in that aspect anyway. But that's why I would put Serena in this game. Gotta make her playable, gotta bring her back. It's been too long. We need Serena to actually have a mainline playable appearance that isn't Armageddon. Moving on to number 3. Our first guest for this list is going to be Michonne from The Walking Dead. Little bit of backstory, Michonne was actually originally planned to be in the first combat pack. That's who NRS and Boone approached I can't remember their name, something like that. They own Omni-Man and Invincible and The Walking Dead and stuff like that. The creator works for them. I can't think of his name, guys, really sorry. But they actually went forward with Michonne first. but the idea for Omni-Man was tossed around, so they picked him instead. I would actually really like Michonne. It's crazy that we've never had a female guest in any game before. And I do think Michonne could end up being quite interesting. She could have, you know, she could have her zombie pets. I'm so sorry, I've only watched the first 4 seasons of The Walking Dead. So I have seen Michonne, but not a whole lot. But she's got her katana, she's very aggressive, and she's pretty good with it as well. Alternatively, you could also swap out Michonne for the Bride from Kill Bill, because she's also super heavily requested as a guest character. I'd personally prefer Michonne because I haven't watched Kill Bill, but I know that the Bride would also fit very well into the story, sorry, not the story, kind of the aesthetic of the game. The Bride, Uma Thurman's character would just match up with everything so well. Moving on to character number 4 in my combat pack, Erron Black. Now, I'm fully aware that Erron Black was in Mortal Kombat X and 11, but I want him back in MK1 purely because he's awesome. He's sick. He's an awesome cowboy dude with revolvers. That's all I can say. Erron was one of the more popular characters introduced in MKX, and he was first introduced in the comics. He made his debut in the comics slightly before MKX released, which was also fun because we were all reading the MKX comics hoping that he'd show up, and he did show up in the game after. And he's just one of my personal favorite characters. MKX really nailed his gameplay, and then MK11 really nailed the character design for him, but I feel like they both fell short in terms of personality. Especially the corny cowboy aspect from MK11, hated what they did in that. I'd rather they revert back to the MKX personality, but I'd like to see MK1 just give him a whole new crack, whole fresh take. Character number 5, Hotaru. Okay, this one's a bit of a left field choice here, but hear me out. Havoc and the whole Chaos versus Order storyline thing has finally been reintroduced into the series after so many years. But now that Havoc is back representing Chaos, there's no representative for Order other than Hotaru who would make any sense. Havoc is Dairu, so he's out completely, and Darius is already back working with Havoc. So I think it would be cool to bring Hotaru back. He's an entirely blank slate for NRS to develop, kind of like Reiko in this game. They can do the whole new moveset, they can do a whole new design, they can do a whole new storyline. It'd be a fresh take. Out of all of the MK characters on this list, Hotaru I honestly never see coming back. I don't see it ever happening. Maybe as a cameo, but that's it. But personally, I would love to see Hotaru get another crack at playability, especially with Havoc in the game. And for our final slot, I've got one more guest character, and that is Nemesis. So, now before you start rapidly clicking about how Nemesis is Capcom and NRS will never cross paths, I know Nemesis will never be in a Mortal Kombat game. I know it's never going to happen. But imagine the possibility. Sit down and think about it. Think about the Nemesis in a Mortal Kombat game. You could probably pick several different characters from Resident Evil to make it in, and most of them would make sense. You could pick Ada Wong, there's like 5 different tyrants you could pick Wesker, you could pick Chris, you could pick Jill. There's so many options. But Nemesis makes the most sense from a series icon point of view and a gameplay point of view, in my opinion. His gear could be his rocket launcher, and his gameplay, it'd be very slow and tanky, and he'd probably have one of the higher health pools, but he'd be super aggressive, and he'd have his long-reaching tendrils, and he would just be super scary. And he'd also obviously have a giant rocket that he can shoot at you. And his fatalities could even involve him changing into his later forms. We got the big giant, anyone who played Remake, giant dog Nemesis. There's so many options that they could do. And I just think it would be sick to see the Nemesis cross over into Mortal Kombat. And finally cross paths with a Capcom entity other than, Street Fighter. And that brings us to the end of this list. So to recap, my Combat Pack 2 dream choices would be Sektor, Serena, Erron Black, Hotaru, Michonne, and Nemesis. Let me know in the comments down below who you would pick in MK1 for a Combat Pack 2. Doesn't have to make sense, just, from your heart, 6 characters that you need in this game, let me know. I'm going to be replying to every comment. So yeah, thanks for watching this video, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time. And as this is probably the last video before 2024, thank you very much for a year of support, and I'll see you guys next year. Stay tuned. Peace out.